welcome to Policing TV and to our series, Policing TV series, in conversation with Rachel Tuffin of the UK's College of Policing. Rachel, thank you very much for that first recording we made, where we introduced our viewers, UK and overseas, to the work of the college and the work that you do. For this second recording, I'd like to put myself in the shoes of somebody from whatever part of the world, but maybe relatively new in police service, who wants to understand better what it is the college can do and provide to strengthen my skills, knowledge, my team's skills and knowledge in providing a better policing service for my particular community. What would you say to such an individual? What would you point them at? What would you suggest they do in understanding what the college can provide to them?
Yeah, great question, Bernard. Thanks. So I would start with, I think, the question, what do you care about right now? So are you looking for ideas for things to do in your new things to do in your practice or in your police force? If you're looking for ideas, the place I would start is the Practice Bank, which is a resource which has over 250 entries now, and is accessed around over 4,500 times a month already. And basically what includes is across all different aspects of policing, everything from human resources to investigations to public order, ideas that forces in England and Wales at the moment, so there's opportunity for international expansion potentially there, have developed, have implemented in their force, and have written up and provided some lessons learned. So you could have a look at that and think about, is that something I might do in my organisation that could help us to improve? So that's maybe a starting point around ideas. Maybe a really basic thing is, if you, using Google or a search engine of your choice, enter the topic that you're interested in and then college policing, you'll see that what will come up is likely to be resources from our standards, from our leadership offer, and from our What Works offer too. And you'll be able to navigate from there to specific things that interest you. If you wanted to go direct, though, I could tell you that we have leadership, learning and standards that you could look at. So we've created leadership standards for England and Wales specifically, but the process that we did to get to those standards is likely to be of benefit in all sorts of different countries, I think, because we drew together an evidence base. We built on lots of discussions and engagement with forces. And when we've done work on leadership previously, when we did our leadership review and the findings of that fed into this, we looked at international evidence. So I think that leadership learning and development material would be of interest. For officers in England and Wales, they can also access, there's a leadership learning platform that you can log into, and that will provide you with extra resources, development resources that you can use, videos that you can engage with and so forth. So there's extra information for forces and officers in England and Wales. And then around the standards, so we know that our standards are picked up and used internationally. We have people accessing them from all over the world, and we're always very pleased to hear feedback from people who do read them, because it's always really interesting to us to know who's using them and what they're using them for. We don't always get to find out, but they're there as a kind of a public good, if you like, and the process that we go through to build those standards is kind of overtly evidence-based. So we're trying to build in the research evidence into those standards, that they cover all of the key issues in policing, and we try to be quite selective and focus on the things that we think really matter. So not writing down everything, but making sure that we just pick out the things that really matter. So if you're interested in standards, you can add authorised professional practice. If you want to focus specifically on the standards area, that has its own little website where you can go and look at lots of different standards areas in policing. And then finally, in terms of what works, so we have developed something called the Crime Reduction Toolkit. That goes back, I think we started doing it about 10 years ago now. And what the Crime Reduction Toolkit does is it takes all of the research that's been produced on crime reduction, as the name suggests. So all of the evaluation studies where somebody has introduced something new and tested whether it impacts on crime or not, and it summarises them all by sort of topic area or intervention type. So it would be like domestic abuse, specific kinds of domestic abuse initiatives, or hotspots policing, or problem solving. And each entry in the Crime Reduction Toolkit tells you what we know about whether it works or not. So does it reduce crime? How strong is the evidence that tells us that? What kind of mechanism is involved? So what do you actually have to do? And have we got any cost effectiveness evidence? And kind of other information that might be useful. So that Crime Reduction Toolkit, if you're looking to reduce crime and you want to know what do we already know about what works, and we have a strong sense from the evidence, the research evidence, that's the place to go, is directly into the toolkit.
So, a great tip there. Go to Google. Everybody has access to Google or browser or search engine of your choice. Type in College of Policing and the policing term that you're interested in, whether it be neighbourhood policing, whether it be victim support, whether it be recruitment, whether it be welfare, all these sorts of things. Now, in the unlikely circumstance that somebody types College of Policing and then a policing term that generates less content, and they are interested in it, would you be interested in hearing from such an individual about their contributing to fixing a potential gap? Dare I say a potential gap in, with the best of intention, what the College of Policing has built up over a number of years will not yet be completely and utterly exhaustive. I can say that fairly confidently. So you're not just looking to transmit, you're also looking to receive as well, are you?
That would be really useful. And I think, so there's a email address, contact us at college.police.uk. So that's probably the best route in, because then they can point it in the right direction. And a couple of things I would add on to that probably is, obviously sometimes the terminology might be different. So even in English-speaking countries, we have different language for the different things. So,
and even within the UK, district, division, the terminology that. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
So it will be, it's very true, yeah. So try and, you can also first Google your term just to see what other versions of it might come up, and are there other English language versions of it? So that could help. But yeah, and going back to your point, certainly if there's a gap, and we're especially interested, is if there's a gap and you're trying something new, then do definitely get in touch with us, because that's the kind of opportunity where that we might be able to partner up a force in England and Wales with a force internationally and say, right, okay, would you like to work together to try and test something across borders, as it were? And
wouldn't that be fascinating?
Wouldn't it be fascinating? And it has been done before, and it means that the evidence base gets stronger faster. Because one of the issues is, if you've only got one study about something, one piece of research, it's really helpful, and it's great to have that. But obviously you want to know whether it works in more than one context to be confident that you can really say this is a thing that works and not something that's promising, but we're not quite sure yet. So if you can set that up from the outset, and particularly if you can do it across international boundaries, that's absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, I think anything where something doesn't even have to be an evaluation, so just something you're trying, like our practice bank. So you might not be testing it formally, you might not be doing any research, but you are trying something new. We'd still like to hear about that, especially if it's tackling some of the big priorities in policing in the UK right now. So quality of investigations, violence against women and girls, neighbourhood policing are just three of the top ones.
So many topics, of course, so many topics. Rachel, we're going to keep this second video a little shorter than our first video, and again acknowledge that this is not the final video that we'll record here for Policing TV. Many more I hope to come, but for the time being on this one, again, can I thank you for the fascinating insights you've given in this video on the work of the college and how those new to the work of the college can access and contribute to the work that the college is doing. We'll pick up on a number of other topics, many other topics in future videos. But Rachel Tuffin, for the time being, once again, many thanks indeed.
Thank you very much, Bernard.